Hello, my name is Raymond Garchevsky, and I am a living Christ. Let me set you folks straight. You're all under satanic mind control. It's called civilized behavior, and it is seen in the relationships that you have with illusions, fictions, created by fictions of your own mind, such as government and religion, the two main mind controlling, satanic mind controlling institutions that twist the truth that is the what is found only in the direct perception by the divine subconscious mind, the mind of non-duality. We have that mind, each and every one of us. We also have the conscious intellect, which is the dualistic, satanically driven, indoctrinated, that is programmed into the illusion of words. We find that in the Bible. We find that in all of the main books of communication throughout the ages, since the beginning of time. That's the nature of life on Earth for civilized man. Civilized means programmed man, conditioned man, belief-ridden man. Those who believe in ideas, concepts, myths, legends, superstitions, all of these are of the conscious intellect, and they are of illusion. That is the lie that all live in if they live in this world. I am here with you, but I am not of that world, as you can well know by the energies that you experience in my words. You see, I am in the balance of the subconscious, non-dualistic intellect, the mind of creation, the mind of God. But I must use the conscious intellect in order to communicate with you. So I must use words. But I speak from the spirit that is contained from the subconscious perception of the subconscious mind, which is truth. But I communicate that truth with words, the spirit of the word. But you hear it from your own conditioned definitions of the word, and that is your programming, your satanic programming. And that is where you fall away from truth. You believe in the illusion because you believe in the letter of the word. And that letter can be manipulated by lawyers, by judges, by professors, by entertainers. All these are mind control manipulators. Your government leaders are mind controlling manipulators because they deal in words. And that word, the word that they use, they call law, they call rules, they call regulations. And they impose punishment if you do not abide. The teachers in school, the professors. You see, they're forming your perceptions of the world, which are basically truth unfolding in the moment of now, but that moment is captured by the conscious after-moment intellect based in memory, based in conditioning. That's the ego, the satanic ego. It's dead. The ego is nothing more than habitual behavior patterns that serve you, and so you make them a habit, and you perform that habit, and that habit becomes your ego. So, you, all of you who live in your conscious intellect are of the living dead, because you live in the past, and you live in the concepts that you worship. You worship the false gods that are based in words. And those words, being dualistic in nature, have dualistic meanings, separate meanings, opposing meanings. And you're in conflict. You're in debate. You're in argument. You're at war. You're committing crimes. All of these things are dualistic in nature. And that dualistic nature is the very nature of hell. If you look deeply, if you listen deeply to what I'm saying to you, you will see that what I am saying is true. It cannot be argued. But you will, because you fight to live the lie that imprisons you in the hell of your own making. You have been lied to. The whole civilized world is based on lies, deceptions that are imposed upon you by seemingly authoritative leadership. Well, those people are mere fictions, and they belong to the fiction of a government or the fiction of religion, which you, the living man or woman, has created in your mind. That makes them fictions. A fiction is dead. You are the living. A fiction can never have jurisdiction over its creator. It is always subservient to those who think it up. And that's what government is. That's the lie that you're living. And I, this simple man of truth, this Christ, for that's all a Christ is. That's all Jesus of Nazareth was in his time. And you see what got him. Well, I'm doing the same thing in my time. I'm challenging the government to prove its jurisdiction over me, and they have failed. I've gone to the courts in Oregon, stood 2 trials where they tried to put me away for 40 years on trumped-up charges. Excuse the pun. But when it came time for sentencing, when they found their fictional person, the defendant, guilty, which was not me, the living man, I refused to accept their offer of contract, and they set me free. That's what I've been trying to tell you since 2002, 17 years. You're not listening. You are adhering to your habitual belief patterns, which are illusions, and you have disdain for the truth. I'm free. I'm speaking to you here from my home, a free man. That is an exception, a spiritual exception to the rule, for you are all slaves to your thoughts, through your belief systems. You have not broken the satanic spell that binds you. That's my purpose in talking to you, to free you, to allow you to live your life with abundance, without the terror, the fear of authoritative powers, putting you away through images and illusions. If you find yourself in jail, you have consented to that because it's all a contract. It's all a contract. Of course, if you commit major crimes like murder, fraud, there's no defense for that. And therefore, those are legitimate reasons for putting you away. However, if you see the fraud, you see the tendency to rule you through fear and illusion, and you opt out of that system, that satanic system, you are a free man. I am proof of that. I stood 2 trials, faced 40 years. The defendant was convicted in both trials, yet I refused to accept those sentences, and I was set free with no charges. Now the charges, fraudulently, are still on the books, but they cannot admit that they had made wrong. So they've carried on a cover-up campaign for 17 years. And that campaign has been launched against this simple man of truth for these 17 years since the bogus convictions were reversed. And they refuse to change the information on the records. And there has been a cover-up denying that this has ever been done. And that cover-up consists of the county officials of Josephine County, Oregon, the state of Oregon itself, clear up to the governor's office, who is vastly, vastly guilty when she was the Secretary of State who handled all of the liens that I had applied to all of the fictional employees of the government, which included judges, sheriff's deputies, bureaucrats. That's why they went after me for 40 years. What was the original charge? I was traveling home in my privately owned automobile, not registered with the state, and therefore the state had no financial responsibility. Understand? They broke the law. They arrested me. They impounded my automobiles when they had no right to do so. That ventures on the crimes of kidnapping and fraud, all of which have no statute of limitations. I currently have millions of dollars in liens. Millions. Which will boggle your mind. And they skirt it just by words, because they seemingly have the power of mind control over you, and you do nothing about it. But you see, I am you. I am every man who wants to be left alone, to live his life freely. But I'm doing something about it, while you cower. You bow before these authoritative symbols who are satanic in origin. That's my message to you. You're facing a collapse, an economic collapse, where they're going to try to force you to live under a cashless computerized society. Big mistake. Big, big mistake. If you allow that to happen, you have condemned yourselves to absolute slavery to the new world, satanic order, where they can control all that you do in life. Buy food? It will be impossible. You'll have no money to buy that food. To find work? You won't be able to work. They will lock you up so greatly that you have to cave in or die trying. And that's no way to live. You don't have to live that way. You never had to live that way. You don't have to live that way now. I am proof of that. But yet I speak to you and you don't hear. You don't listen. You can't resonate with the truth of what I'm saying. I'm a free man. You don't see me in prison. They have no jurisdiction over me, and I've proven that in the courts. Why doesn't that faze you? Why doesn't that allow you to understand that what I have done, so can you? And if we do that individually, not collectively, not as group thought, but as I did, as an individual, as one man, what I have done, so can you. When you finally get that through your heads and stop cowering before the authoritative people who control your minds, we shall have a different world. That's my message to you. Stop being a slave and rise up to your true status as the master of government, not slave. Thank you.